Hi, good morning to everyone. I hope you have studied the chapter 1 of our novel Tom Sawyer's Gang. See the story of Tom Sawyer. I hope you have studied. Okay, can I expect that you have gone through? And also, there is a paragraph answer. I mean, one paragraph is given and 5 questions given there. I hope you have answered the questions in your notebook. Let us move on to the next chapter. Chapter 2, Tom and Huck. Shall we move on? Chapter 2, Tom and Huck. Page number 103 in your textbook. The next day was Sunday. Tom wore clean Sunday clothes. Usually, children would wear their uniform all the 6 days of the week. Generally, in India, it is 6 days, but in Western countries, surely it is 5. Saturdays and Sundays are holidays everywhere. In some places, only Saturday is a working day. Anyhow, so on Sunday, they would go to church. For that, they wear their best clothes and uniform and the best ones because they meet their friends, they spend some time with them and they enjoy the weekend. Not weekend, actually, weekend is Saturday. Okay, so Sunday they go to church and they spend their time with their friends, not in the school. Okay, the next day was Sunday. Tom wore clean Sunday clothes. He hated them. Yes. Tom, Sid, and Mary always went to Sunday school. He did not like it. Tom, his brother, in a half brother, and Mary, yes, sister, always went to Sunday school on Sunday morning. So, Sunday school in the sense that they are taught some catechism, that is Christian principles, then some lessons they have to learn. Yes, of course, English literature always has that Christian background. So, Sunday school meant for Christian children to learn religion, etc. Yes, on Sunday morning. But Tom was not a good student. Actually, he was not a good student and never listened to the teacher. Generally, he would not listen to the teacher's words. After Sunday school, Tom and his family went to the church. Yes, after Sunday school being over, they went to church. This Sunday, he had a big black beetle in his pocket. He was carrying a black beetle, a big one, in his pocket. Of course, he was a mischievous boy. Okay, you must remember that Tom was a mischievous boy. When the Reverend started speaking, Reverend Father, which means the priest, Purohidadu, he began speaking. Tom took the beetle, black beetle, out of his pocket. He took out the beetle from his pocket. He put it on the floor. The priest was preaching, saying prayers, etc. And Tom took the beetle and put it on the floor. There was a little dog in the church. Pet dogs they would bring even into the church also. It saw the beetle and wanted to play with it. The dog saw a nice object to play with. And the dog wanted to play with the beetle. Suddenly the beetle bit the big dog's nose. Suddenly the beetle bit the nose of the dog. The little dog barked and everyone looked at it. Not a big one, small dog, pet dog. It began barking and everyone was looking at the dog and the mischievous things it was happening there. Not listening the words of the priest. Yes, it jumped and ran after the black beetle. The dog began running, chasing the beetle to catch it. Yes, it ran all about the church. The beetle was flying and dog was running and heavy pandemonium, that means hell, all noise and all the business there. It ran all about the church, barking and making a lot of noise. The dog began barking and it began making a lot of noise. The people in the church laughed silently. They were not listening to the words of the priest. Instead, they began attending the noise and the mischievous things being done in the church by the dog and the beetle. Yes, their faces were red. They began laughing and laughing, suppressed laughter, and their faces were red with laughter. The reverend continued talking. He did not mind all the business here. Is it not so? That is a quite funny thing. He began continuing his speeches. You might have seen in a roadside some preachers would be coming. They won't care whether anybody is listening, whether even one may not be listening to them. The people moving around, maybe waiting for a bus or something, would be listening or looking at them for some time. They would go on their way. Not at all listening. They don't mind. They don't care whether somebody is listening or not. They would be going on preaching. Not everyone. Some people we can find. Okay, the same way here. The priest went on with his prayer, service and preaching. But no one listened to him. Nobody was listening to him. Tom was so happy because a good mischievous things being done. In what way? He brought a beetle bit the dog began barking, the dog began chasing the beetle, and the entire atmosphere is spoiled. A mischievous boy really enjoys it. Yes, because he had an interesting morning in the church. Yes, that is why he spent. The morning became so interesting because of his mischievous activities. So he was happy that the things are going on well, very well. Yes, it went on like that. He was happy that he could do some mischievous things. And he enjoyed really the dogs barking and the beetle running, beetle biting the nose of the dog, etc. and etc. He enjoyed it nicely. A mischievous boy he was. The story goes on. On Monday morning, Tom did not want to get up. Monday morning, no. Get up immediately, Tom. See, after 2 days or whole days, children find it very difficult to get up in the morning, go to school again, so boring. 2 days they were enjoying, it was flying like anything because they were interested to play, to enjoy, etc. and etc. They don't sit at home always and do their homework. Sometimes they would do in the evening maybe or in the morning only. During the day they enjoy their life. Actually, some children don't get that opportunity of enjoying their life. They stay in the hostel early morning up to late in the night, midnight also they would be going on study. What study? Life is being spoiled. Is it not so? In such a way. But here, look at the children. They enjoy their whole days. They really enjoy their whole days. And after 2 days or whole days, they don't want to go to school at all. Yes, get up immediately. Tom, get ready for school. Get up. Get ready for the school. For school. Aunt Polly cried. Our auntie began shouting and crying, asking him to get up and to get ready to school. Go to school. On his way to school, he met his friend Huckleberry Finn. Another important character of the novel, Huckleberry Finn. I had already mentioned that another sequel to it is there, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Yes, now we study Adventures of Tom Sawyer. In that, Huckleberry Finn is a minor character. Another sequel to this novel is there, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. In which our Tom is a minor character and Huckleberry Finn is the hero there. Anyhow, on his way to school, he met his friend Huckleberry Finn. Huck's father drank whiskey. He was a drunkard. Whiskey, brandy, whatever he would drink. All the time and did not work. Whatever money he gets comes on the way. If not good, he would go and beg or request or ask someone for some aid or help. Is it not so? Even children, these drunkards, they have no shame. No, they would come and ask for 10 rupees, 50 rupees. They would say that emergency is there, somebody is in the hospital, or some of his friends, relatives, or his own children in the hospital or very sick. Give me some money. At least best fare you give. Others will think that it is genuine and they would give. They would go and drink. They have no shame to tell lies also. So he's a drunkard. So drunkard generally don't hesitate to tell lies. So whatever money comes on their way, they go to, the study shop or, liquor shop, wine shop, and drink as much as possible. Yes, he did not do any work at all. Yes, Huck had no mother and no home. Though he had his father alive, it is as equal as he is being an orphan, because his father did not care for him. His mother is no more and father is a drunkard. In effect, practically for all practical purposes, he was an orphan. Huck was in a way an orphan, in the sense that his father was a drunkard and mother is no more. Yes, he lived in the streets and did not go to school. He lived in the streets and he did not go to school. His clothes were old and dirty. He did not have a pair of dresses or uniforms, nothing. He wore some old clothes gifted by some people out of charity, maybe worn out one, which they had used for many years. At the end, when they find it not at all good for using, instead of throwing it out, they give it to some orphans or some beggars like that. He used to wear that kind of clothes. Yes, his clothes were old and dirty. He went fishing and swimming. Whenever he wants, he would go to play. Fishing, swimming, whatever he wants, he can do. When he wanted, Huck was happy. See the difference now? For the children of the place, of the village, he was a symbol of freedom. In what sense? He did not go to school, because children don't like to go to school, mischievous children especially. So he could play whenever he wants, because there is nobody to tell him, no, you should go to school and study. His father won't care what Huck is doing. He is a full-time drunkard. So Huck was able to go wherever he wants, able to play whenever he likes. In such a way, he was the symbol of freedom for other children, because he was free enough to go for swimming, playing, or whatever he likes. Yes, Huck was happy. He was happy in his life. Whatever be, he was quite happy, because he would go to play, he would go to swim, and he was quite free to do whatever he likes. All the mothers of the village hated him, but parents did not like Huck, especially mothers. They hated him because he was lazy. The main reason, he was lazy and used bad language. He used to use some bad language. That's the main problem. No, those children, mingling with bad boys would naturally get their habits and the words they use. So if you are living with educated, polite and refined kind of, students and friends having etiquette, high level of good manners, so you would not use bad words. But if you are mingling with, if your friends are not that much, cultured, you would also naturally, gradually learn those words and you would use them also, even without your own knowledge. So it's very important that you get a good friends and you keep friendship only with good friends. Of course, you can have friendship with them, but keep them at a distance. Otherwise, their qualities would come to you without even your own knowledge. Okay. So he was using some bad words, bad language. So mothers of the place, the village, they did not like Huck at all. Yes, he was lazy first of all, and he used bad language. Occasionally he smoked like his father. Mischievous children. He would take some cigar or some beedi and he would smoke and put the rolls of smoke, and other children would look, oh, very nice. Because no, only he could do. Other children could not do that, because they are not permitted. They were not permitted, and they don't have the money to buy these cigarettes or something like that. Okay, so some children at least, they would look with jealousy. Oh, what a lucky charm our Huck is. He can go wherever he wants, he can smoke, he can play, nice, very nice. They might think like that. Ringleaders, no. He's a ringleader in a way, a leader of more mischievous people. Okay, so he would smoke like his father. Huck's only clothes are the worn out rags that others have discarded and that seldom fit him. Worn out, thrown out, unwanted clothes only he used to wear. That is seldom, fit him, because no, when they give, it is they don't take care. It is suitable to him or not. What they don't want, unwanted things, they would give as a gift. Isn't it so? So it may not be suitable for his body shape. Okay, so he would be wearing big clothes. It would be hanging around like him. Isn't it so? Yes. He lives without bathing, except in the Mississippi River during warm weather. Some days he would go to river to jump and swim, not for bathing. That is only bathing that he would do. Otherwise, he would not go for bathing. He has no bed to sleep in. Unfortunately enough, no bed to sleep in. And no regular food. No question of regularity, even in the case of food also. Only that which he can obtain by his own wits. Here, wit means tricks. He would play some tricks on someone. In that way, he would be able to manage to get some money or some eatable items. That only he would eat. Who can give him always? Sometimes, once in a while, someone would call him. His own friends and family might invite him for something, and he might be given something to eat also. It might happen. Not always. It cannot be expected. So his food also not in a regular way it was given to him. He does not attend to school or church and has no regular chores to perform. Chores means task means work, no work to do, because he is completely free to do anything he likes. He was quite free. He could do anything he wants, anything he likes. Boys admire him in a way. Other boys admire him. And all the boys enjoy his company. He was a nice friend, a nice companion. Others enjoyed his company. And they admired him. In a way, they all admired him. Hello, Huckleberry Finn. Hello, Huck. What is that? It's a dead cat. A storm was bringing a dead cat. Sorry, I'm sorry, not Tom, but a Huck. It's a dead cat, said Huck. So, our Tom met Huckleberry Finn on the way, and Huck was carrying a dead cat. What will you do with it? Asked Tom. Hey, what are you going to do with this dead cat? I want to take it to the graveyard after midnight. I would take this dead cat, to the graveyard. Next chapter, an important lesson, very important lesson. Graveyard, grave, place where people are buried. Generally, nearby the church. Of course, Christian background, I already told, Hindus, they don't, bury anywhere else. They bury nearby their house. They even cremate. All the people will be cremated, burned. Okay, na? So, others will be buried nearby the house. Here it is church. So, graveyard is a place where dead bodies are what? Buried. Yes, graveyard. You might have seen a tomb, then a cross at the, in front of it, at the head, cross would be there. And on the tomb, it will be written, rest in peace, R.I.P. Rest in peace. Yes, they take rest forever and forever. They won't come back, The real rest and peace comes only when you go there. Okay, now? Yes. In a way, we are old, but landlords of that is 6 feet. Actually, a man's length is 6 feet. There is a famous story by Leo Tolstoy, in that he says, a farmer running for, land falls down at the end, and his attendants comes and asks the landlord how much is required. The answer is 6 feet. Yes, dear friends, we are all landlords of 6 feet. That is our permanent abode, where we should dwell, we should live. Rest in peace forever and forever. Simply told as part of this story. Okay, I want to take it to the graveyard after midnight. I would take this to the graveyard after midnight. Huck said, a dead cat can call ghost and ghosts. All the ghosts can be called. He says, not in reality. Okay, he believes or he says that this dead cat can call the ghost from the tomb where they are buried. out of their graves where they are buried, tomb. See, where they are buried. So the dead cat can call and the ghost would come out from their grave from where they are buried, says Huck. Really? Asked Tom. Hey, are you really speaking truth? Is it reality? Well, old Mr. Hopkins told me. I was told this story by old Mr. Hopkins. She is a witch and she knows about these things. She is a witch. One who does witchcraft. That means black magic. What's that? Asking the evil spirit to do some mischievous things, etc. Maybe ghost also. She is doing witchcraft. She is a witch herself. And she told me that dead cat can call the ghost from their graveyard, from their burial place. Can I come with you? Can I also come with you? Tom is asking to Huck, can I come with you? Of course. Why not? Are you afraid of ghosts? Are you really afraid of ghosts? Asked Huck. Afraid? Of course not. No. Come on, call me at my window at 11 o'clock tonight. Yes, to call the ghost, we should not go in the, during the day. It should be in the middle of the night. Call me at 11 o'clock. So we would go there, 12 o'clock in the night. The ghost all will get up and come out. Hey, these are all stories, not reality. Okay, so you come and call me at 11 o'clock at my window. And give me a signal. I would get up from my bed. I would jump through the windows. And I would come with you to visit the graveyard to call the ghost out or ghost out. Yes. Okay. Tom was late for school. So after meeting Huck. So why was Tom late for the school? Because he met his friend Huckleberry Finn on the way. The teacher was very angry. The teacher was very angry and said, Tom Sawyer, why are you late again? Ha! What, Tom Sawyer, you are late again? Suddenly Tom saw a new girl in the classroom. Suddenly he saw a new girl, new admission, a new girl, a beautiful girl. She had blue eyes and long blonde hair. Blonde means golden. Blue eyes, golden hair. She was very beautiful. In fact, she was very beautiful. Tom looked at her, a new girl, a new student. Tom looked at her. He was in love. Love at first sight. Okay, you might have read in novels and stories. Yes, love at first sight. Yes, so seeing this beautiful girl, Tom fell in love. Love at first sight. Okay, there was a free chair next to her. A chair was there next to her. And Tom wanted to sit there. Actually, Tom wanted to sit there. But how? How he would be able to do that? Tom thought quickly and said, suddenly he had an idea. He thought quickly and said, I stopped to talk to Huckleberry Finn. He said the answer reality, but he should not have said that because everybody knows that nobody likes Huckleberry Finn. If that word is told, he would be punished because he is a most mischievous boy of the area, of the village. And if he says the name of Huckleberry Finn, he would be punished. He was sure that he would be punished. Expecting some punishment, that he told that I stopped to talk to Huckleberry Finn. Purposefully, knowingly, he told that he was late because he met Huckleberry Finn. The teacher was angry. Huckleberry Finn? You know, you must never talk to that boy. What did you know? You should know. Children, you should not talk to that boy, mischievous boy. He is a rascal, rowdy. How can you talk to him? No. He was very angry. The teacher took his stick and hit Tom. Stick is taken and one is given. Yes. Bang. Now go and sit with the girls. And punishment is given. Okay. You go and sit with the girls. Sitting with the girls is a big punishment. That is what really Tom wanted. He played a trick actually. Is it not so? He purposefully told that I met Huckleberry Finn on my way to school. Teacher was very angry. You met Huckleberry. I told you several times not to meet him, not talk to him, mischievous boy Huckleberry Finn. How can you do that? He was very angry. Took the stick and beat Tom Sawyer and asked, go and sit with the girls. You fellow. Children laughed at Tom. All the children laughed at Tom for getting the punishment of sitting with the girls. Tom sat down next to the new girl. That is what he wanted. That is what he planned. He wanted to sit with the new girl. Punishment given, blessing in disguise. It became a blessing. Really, he wanted to talk with that girl, keep company with that girl. He fell in love with the girl. So beautiful a girl. Yes. So he really wanted to sit with that girl and talk with her. He looked at her. Then he drew a picture of a house. Not listening to the words of the teacher, he began drawing a picture of a house. Let me see it, she whispered. Sitting nearby, she whispered. Show me, she whispered. Tom put the picture in front of her. It is nice. Draw a man, she said. Draw the picture of a man. Tom drew a house near the house. A small house near the house. It was a terrible picture. That picture was not that much good. It was a terrible picture. Okay. But the girl liked it. But luckily enough, the girl liked the picture. Yes. You draw beautifully. I can't draw. Very nice. You are drawing very beautifully. I can't draw, said the girl. I cannot draw like this, said the girl. I can teach you after school. Don't worry. I will teach you after the school. He got nice companionship now. He is able to make friendship with the girl, new girl, beautiful girl, whom he wanted to love. Okay, small boy, of course, story it is. Still, he got a nice opportunity to make friendship with her. I will teach you how to draw the picture of a man or whatever you want. I know how to draw. She said, I'm not good at drawing pictures, what to do. I will teach you. Yes. Oh, thank you, Tom. Thank you, Becky Thatcher. Yes, that is her name. Becky. Tom and Becky. Becky Thatcher. I know your name. It is Tom Sawyer. The girl said, I know your name. He is so happy that his name is known to her. He was so happy. And the girl said, I know your name. He said, thank you, Becky Thatcher. And she said, I know your name. Your name is Tom Sawyer. That night, Tom and Sid were in bed at 9:30. The story goes on fast enough. Why? Because it's an abridged version, as I have already told you. Yes, Sid was soon asleep, but Tom was not. Sid was soon asleep, but Tom did not sleep. 11 o'clock, he heard Huck meow. Some signal is given. Sound of a cat meow. Okay. So the signal is given. He dressed quickly and went out of the bedroom window. Let's go, whispered Huck. He had his dead cat. The cat also is brought with him. Tom and Huck walked down the dark road. They walked for half an hour. They are going to the graveyard. The graveyard was on a hill. Yes, not nearby church, it is far away. On a hill. A deserted area only will be taken as for graveyard. There were lot of trees and lot of graves. A good number of graves were there. Everything was dark and scary. The wind made strange noises. When the wind blows, some noise might be heard because small, tall trees would be there. On top of that, branches would be there. When the wind blows, the sound would be heard. And dark clouds covered the moon. Yes, there was no moonlight because there were dark clouds. Are the ghosts making these noises? Thought Tom. Some strange noises being heard. From where do they come from? Is it a ghost or ghosts coming out or some strange creatures making some strange noises? He was afraid. But he said nothing. Though he was a little afraid, he did not say anything. Now let us find the grave of Hose Williams, said Huck. Let us find the grave of Hose Williams. They soon found the grave. The name will be written there. Hose Williams. Here it is. He died last week. Recently dead and buried. Last week it was, said Huck. Do you think Hose Williams can hear us? Asked Tom. Ray, can the man hear, the dead man? Can he hear our words? Well, I think his ghost can hear us. Not the dead body, but the ghost of the body can hear, I think. Then let us call him. Mr. Williams, said Tom. So let us call him. Hoss Williams. Mr. Williams, come out. All right, said Huck. But everybody called him Hoss. He is called Hoss by everybody, not as William. Shh. What's it, Tom? Asked Huck. Suddenly, he made a silencing sound. Shh. What is that? What's it, Tom? Do you hear the noise? Do you hear some noise? Look over there, Huck. Look there, look there. Oh no, said Tom. They see something very strange. Let us continue. Ghost, said Huck. Yes, some ghost is there. Some ghosts are there. Not one, many are there. I can see ghosts coming. They are coming over here. Yes, some ghosts are coming. I am really scared. I am really frightened. Are there ghosts coming towards us? Look at there. Something is coming. Are there ghosts? Can ghosts see us? Asked Tom. Can they see us? Ghosts can see everything. Why not? They can see everything. Even what we think they can see, they can understand. Answered Huck. Oh, why did I come here? I am sorry. We come here. Don't be afraid. We must be very quiet, said Tom. Don't worry. Keep quiet. Keep silent. Be silent. Keep silence. The three ghosts moved quietly in the graveyard. They found three people coming. They moved quietly in the graveyard. They came close to Tom and Huck. They are coming near, very near to Tom and Huck. Tom, whispered Huck, they are not ghosts, they are humans. Who told you they are ghosts? They are humans. One of them is Muff Potter. I know him. And his name is Muff Potter. An important character, remember? Muff Potter. You are right. And there is Indian Joy. Indian Joy, the most important character. Not positive, negative. Okay. Indian Joy, maybe villain. Okay, let us see how he behaves. So, Muff Potter, Indian Joy, and Dr. Robinson. Three people are approaching. They are not ghosts actually. They are humans. Who are they? They are Muff Potter, then Indian Joy, then Dr. Robinson. But why are they here? Why should they come to graveyard in the middle of the night? They are grave robbers. They are also robbers in a way. Grave robbers. Yes, they want to rob a grave. The doctor wants a dead body for experiment. Doctor wants dead body. Dead body cannot be got easily. Yes, said Huck. But why? Asked Tom. He cuts bodies and studies them. He would cut them, operate and studies and make experiments with the dead body. My father told me about Dr. Robinson, said Huck. Huck told that his father told him about Dr. Robinson, who studies on dead bodies by operating, experimenting, etc. For that he wants dead bodies. It's not easy to get, so he would go with some robbers or thieves or rascals in the middle of the night to graveyard to dig the grave and get dead bodies. Yes. So graveyard they have come. The three men were at Hoss Williams' grave. Surprisingly enough, they are coming towards Hoss Williams' grave, who died 1 week before. Indian Joy and Muff Potter started digging. They began digging the grave. Soon the grave was opened. They found the dead body and pulled it out of the ground. They pulled out the dead body of Hoss Williams. Well, doctor, do you want us to take the body to your house? Said Muff. Hey, do you want to take the dead body to your house? You must give us $5. If you want to take this body to your house, you must give another $5. Actually, nowadays you have to take $5, maybe $500. If it was written hundreds of years before now, at the time $5 means so huge an amount. For that you must give us another $5. What? Said Dr. Robinson. I paid you this morning. Angrily he said, I gave you the money now, in the morning. I am not giving you more money, not even a single pie I would give. Morning I gave you money for this work, for taking the dead body, etc. You are asking again and again, why? No, 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 no. The drunkards like that. When they take the money, they are happy, or sometimes they will forget it. Even if they may remember, they would change their words. They don't have any shame to change their words every now and then. I want more money, doctor. Money, money, I want more money. Said Indian joy, Indian joy. 5 years ago, I came to your father's house. I came to your father's house 5 years ago. I asked you for something to eat. I was so hungry. I asked you for something to eat. You gave me nothing. Once upon a time, 5 years before I came to you, I asked you something to eat, but you did not. He remembers all these things. The drunkards now, when they drink, they will remember all the things, especially sad things of the past. They will recollect it and they will start crying. Here he remembers all the things that he misbehaved, not behaved well, by not giving anything to eat. Yes, you gave me nothing. I still remember that. Now you must give me more money. If you want to take this body, give more money. Indian Joy took the doctor's arm and the doctor hit him. Doctor was very angry. Give me more money. He took the hand. Doctor was very angry. Hit him on the head. Yes, Indian Joy fell to the ground. Don't hit my friend, cried Muff Potter. You see, Indian Joy fell down. Don't hit my friend, cried Muff Potter. Muff and Robinson started fighting. A real fight between Muff Potter and Robinson. Everything happened very quickly. All this quarrel happened suddenly or quickly. Dr. Robinson hit Muff Potter on the head. Dr. Robinson hit Muff Potter on the head. Muff fell to the ground. Muff Potter fell down to a quarrel between Muff Potter and Dr. Robinson. Muff fell down. He was so drunk. Indian Joy took Muff's knife. Muff Potter had a knife with him. And Indian Joy took the knife from Muff Potter. Note that Indian Joy took the knife from Muff Potter, who fell down. A quarrel between Dr. Robinson and Muff Potter, and Muff Potter fell down. His knife was taken by Indian Joy. He saw Muff on the ground and he killed Robinson with his knife. Muff Potter had already fallen down. He was so drunk. And Indian Joy took the knife of Muff Potter and killed Dr. Robinson. The doctor fell on top of Muff. He fell down on top of Muff Potter and covered him with blood. He was all filled with or full of blood. Indian Joy looked at the two men on the ground. Muff Potter fell down and Robinson fell down dead on him. First he robbed the doctor. Anyhow, he is dead. He robbed him. All the money and other things robbed, taken away. Then he put the bloody knife into Muff's right hand. Muff was so drunk. And it was the best opportunity, so that Indian Joy took the knife and the knife was put in the hand of Muff Potter. He was so drunk, not able to get up, not able to remember what is going on, anything, not able to see properly what is going on. He was so drunk. So he fell down out of his drunken state, full drunk. So when he fell down, our Indian Joy, the villain, took the knife of Muff Potter and killed Dr. Robinson. And the dead body was pushed on top of our Muff Potter. So Muff Potter is covered with blood and the knife also is given to his hand. Yes, he was in a drunken state. He did not realize what is going on. Yes. See, what happened, Joy? He asked slowly. Indian Joy said. After some time, our Muff Potter said, what is this all going on here? Something very bad, Muff. Very sorry to say. Why did you kill him? Now, Indian Joy asked Muff Potter, why did you kill Dr. Robinson? I didn't kill him. Who told you that? I did not kill him, said Muff. He was very confused. Oh, full drunk. Not able to recollect or remember anything. See, I am drunk. I know. I can't remember anything properly. He's in a confused state. I drank too much whiskey last night. Yesterday full I was drinking whiskey, brandy, whatever I got, I drank. I can't remember anything properly. What is really going on here? I don't remember anything. Tell me, Joy, what happened? Indian Joy, tell me, Joy, what really happened? Yes, you fought with the doctor. What really happened? You want to hear? You fought with Dr. Robinson. He hit you on the head and you fell to the ground. That which is right. That which is right. He hit you on the head and you fell to the ground. Then you got up. That is wrong. So, Indian Joy says that there was a quarrel between Muff Potter and Robinson, and Muff Potter got up, took your knife and killed him. Yes, he plays a nice cheating here, trick in a way that to hide his, criminal background. So, he has become innocent and Muff Potter has become the criminal. Yes. Then he got up, you took your knife and killed him. Yes, said Indian Joy. I don't understand. I never fought with a knife. Who told you that? I never fought with a knife. I didn't want to kill Dr. Robinson. I have no intention to kill him. He was young and had a future, a bright doctor having good future. Oh, this is terrible. It was the whiskey. He couldn't recollect the things. Whiskey. Oh, so much whiskey I drank. I couldn't remember. In the drunken state, I might have even killed also. He is doubtful whether he killed or not. Such a drunken state he was. Such a drunken state he was in. He couldn't recollect exactly what really happened. Oh, whiskey. I can't remember what really happened. Yesterday I drank so much of whiskey. I can't remember anything. I am sorry. Joy, don't tell anyone, please. Now he is begging to Indian Joy. Please, Joy, don't tell anyone that I killed Dr. Robinson. So our Indian Joy is lucky because Muff Potter does not remember all those things that happened there. I won't tell anyone. But some witnesses are here. The children are watching. I won't tell anyone, Muff. But now you must leave this graveyard quickly. Leave the place, run away. Go, said Indian Joy. Go and escape. Thank you, Joy, said Muff. You are a friend. You are a good friend. Very good friend. Yes, the best villain is the best friend becomes best villain. Have you heard of Othello? In that, the villain is Iago. Othello's best friend. The best friend becomes the best villain. Iago, the cruelest of all villains in literature. Othello by Shakespeare. Okay, na? Yes, in that Iago is in the same way here. His friend cheats him. Muff Potter is cheated and Indian Joy escapes and he tells that I did not kill really, Muff Potter killed him. Thank you, Joy, said Muff. You are a friend. Muff Potter ran away and Indian Joy watched him. Muff Potter ran for his life and Indian Joy watched him running. Then he carefully put Muff's knife near doctor's body. The proof, the evidence. Knife, blood-stained knife nearby the doctor's dead body. And left the graveyard. He left the graveyard. This incident is the most important one in our story. Because based on this, our story moves on. Yes, so you must remember that what really happened. Quarrel between Dr. Robinson and Muff Potter. Muff Potter fell down, he was drunk. And at this time, Indian Joy took the knife of Muff Potter and killed Dr. Robinson. And he puts the blame on Muff Potter. And advises him to run away and he runs for his life. Tom and Huck were terrified. Actually, they have become witnesses of a murder. They were really terrified and shocked because they cannot reveal it now because such kind of a villain or cruel rascal, if they reveal this, they would be in danger because these rascals are so dangerous. Yes, it was a terrible scene. They silently moved away from the trees. Their imagination of calling the ghost and all those things, disappeared and they moved slowly, silently, from the trees. Then they ran out of the graveyard and back to the village. They came out from the graveyard, came back to their village. They arrived at an old house and decided to hide there. They saw something terrible and horrible. a man being killed, and they are the witnesses. What are we going to do? Asked Tom. We saw everything. Injun Joy killed the doctor. We saw very clearly it was Injun Joy who killed the doctor. What can we do? We can't tell anyone. He is so dangerous that we cannot reveal it. There is a truth, we cannot reveal it because he is so dangerous. Injun Joy is dangerous. That is what. He is so dangerous. We cannot reveal it. I am afraid of him. Really, I am afraid. Not of ghost, but of a Injun Joy. He is more terrible and fearful than a ghost also. Do you want a knife in your heart? See? I am afraid of Injun Joy too. Yes. Do you want a knife in your heart? Revealing it means so dangerous. That's what knife in your heart. Yes. If you reveal that, he would come with his knife to attack you. A knife in your heart. I am afraid of Injun Joy too, said Tom. You are right. We can't tell anyone about Injun Joy. He is so dangerous that we cannot reveal the truth of Injun Joy, that he is the real murderer, not Muff Potter. Promise not to tell anyone, said Huck. Promise. Promise me that you would not reveal this to anyone, said Huck. I promise, said Tom. So they have become witnesses. Yes. Of a terrible crime committed by Injun Joy, who escaped putting the blame on the head of Muff Potter. Muff Potter is cheated and Injun Joy escaped at present, and Huck and Tom witnessed the murder. That's a story, chapter number 2 and 3 together. This graveyard chapter is very important. You must write the bag of answers in your notebook. Is it not so? I hope you are writing. First chapter you have written, I expect. Yes. There is no difficulty in finding the answers. Just read the lesson, you will find the answers. If at all there is a difficulty, let me know it. I will tell the answers. Don't worry about that. We meet with the next chapter. Thank you.